So which third-party candidate's going to affect the race the most? Who will it be? Dr. Cornel West? No. Dr. Jill Stein? Maybe. RFK Jr., heavy contender. Chase Oliver? Possibly. But who will do it? Because there's new polling data coming out showing that third parties are still a force to be reckoned with. So let's go ahead and pull up this video here. Shout out to Case Study QB. Be sure to follow him on Twitter, X, as he is wrongly being censored. And no, it's not because of Elon Musk. It was because of previous management.
Harris does even better in our poll when you add in third-party candidates like Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Jill Stein, and Cornel West. In that matchup, Harris leads Trump by 7%, 48-41. Kennedy grabs 6%, and Stein and West each pull in 1% or less. Our pollster says more Biden voters were deserting for third-party candidates last November. Now, more Trump voters are choosing a third-party option.
Third-party voters, they're not too happy with the main candidates, and so they switch to a third party when they have that option. It appears that back in November, they weren't too thrilled with President Biden. Now it looks like they're not as thrilled with former President Trump.
Now, that's an outright lie because Trump is doing phenomenally well with polls. Trump is doing well with his voting base. Yes, no one was excited for the rematch between two old men fighting over a cold bowl of potato soup. But now you got Kamala. Once his honeymoon phase is over and people start questioning what does Kamala stand for, third parties will be vilified by Democrats again.
Switching Biden for Harris gives Democrats an especially big boost with young voters in New Hampshire. Our poll found voters under 30 favoring Biden over Trump by 4 points last November. Now they're favoring Harris by 17 points.
That youth vote jumped back towards the Democrats and gave them another pathway to victory.
But there's an effect. So let's go and pull up this video here.
As of today now, third-party candidates really made a difference in 2016. It was a wash in 2020 because they weren't on the ballots. As of today now, Michigan, they're battlegrounds only, okay? There are more states that are involved here, but Michigan and North Carolina have both Kennedy and Jill Stein on the ballot, okay? Minnesota has Kennedy on the ballot in addition to that. The Green Party candidate, which may or may not include Jill Stein, is on the ballot in Wisconsin, Michigan, North Carolina, and Arizona.
Yep.
Think about how close those states were in 2020.
Makes a huge difference. When you look at Michigan, when third-party candidates are included, it goes from a tie to +2 Trump. Pennsylvania, it goes from a tie to +2 Harris. And then Wisconsin, it goes from Trump +1 to a tie. Again, all of these candidates have to make it on the ballot, but that gives you an idea. All three of those states are different if all of those third-party candidates are on the ballot. That's in our Fox News polling. So if I'm Trump, trying to get RFK Jr. out of the race, get his voters and make it even more difficult for Kamala Harris.
So, yes, that's a game that's going to be played here. We're going to see it firsthand, especially amongst some key pundits here and there, because third parties are being acknowledged, which is very refreshing. But throughout this entire election cycle, I have saw, and all of you have seen firsthand, and we've covered this, how they've been vilified. Now, I made it very clear how disappointed I am in the third-party campaigns this election cycle. I find Cornel West's campaign to be absolutely lackluster and mediocre, as it is a complete embarrassment, and I regret giving it any time or any kind of coverage whatsoever because it is one big nothing burger. He's not going to impact anything. Then there's libertarians. I'm not going to lie, I expected a little bit more from y'all, but okay, there you go. Dr. Jill Stein leaves much to be desired for, and plus Green Party, you had a huge opportunity in 2016 to really launch your party into becoming something that could be very relevant, very powerful, but no, you let that fizzle away. And then there's RFK Jr., which I have to say, what do RFK Jr., Donald Trump, and Biden have in common, including Kamala Harris? They all were or are associated or friends with or were connected to the Democratic Party. And all of them are close to AIPAC. So you can see our choices are rather terrible here, folks, in regards to this election cycle. No one is outstanding. No one is somebody that's really worthy of getting a vote. Dare I say it, I have even found myself pondering this very question. Should I just leave the office for president blank? I've been considering that. and just voting independent third party for all the other races. And then that's it. I go home, cook a nice ribeye steak, and that's it. But third party candidates can make an impact, especially in key battleground states. Pennsylvania is going to be one of them. Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio. All of these states are going to matter, especially when it comes time for voters to turn up. But popular vote in this country means nothing. It all matters on who will secure the Electoral College vote. And right now, we're going to probably see very quietly in these next couple of weeks, both Democrat and Republican operatives infiltrating into these third party and independent campaigns to get enough suckers, I mean voters, to consider voting for Team Red or Team Blue. It's been done before, but this time it's a little bit different because now we're seeing the power of third parties and what they are or what they could potentially do. What's disappointing is the people that we have right now running these third party campaigns. There's so much more that they could be doing, and we're not seeing it. Can they make a difference for this election cycle? Absolutely. Will they be the, I guess, the key factor that will possibly maybe disrupt the Democrats or Republicans? Maybe. All what matters is voter turnout. And ideally, what I want to see is at least third parties get the recognition. But then going forward from there, the responsibility lands to us. Building movements and organizations not connected to Washington, D.C., so that we can actually build a better future.
If you fool me once, it's because I didn't think a guard was needed. If you fool me twice, it's because I didn't learn the lesson, so it bears repeating. If you try the same play 3 times running, it's because you know what's coming, and you didn't come to lead, you came to purposefully be misleading. Democracy is dry. It's been a century bleeding. The husk is gaping open to the sky, out in the field where all the sheep just keep on circling and worrying and bleeding. They're waiting for the shepherd that they've tried to hide their faith in, but he's so appealing. They'd gladly give their fleece. It's such a freeing feeling that even when he leads them to the ledge and starts to urge them on, they're positively beaming. They were told that they were on their way to save democracy, so even as they plummet, they just gloat. They don't consider screaming. And halfway up the cliff, the shepherd's cozy little mittens wrap around the staff of shattered human hopes on which he's leaning. He shows the gentle grin that used to stir your inner spark, and he says, "Not me, us," as he gestures to the oligarchs. He knows that if he runs, they're going to stop him like a stolen car. And he'll easily surrender because it bought a lot of time for laying mines in all the grassroots. Suddenly, the tiniest of movements gets you blown apart. Suddenly, you're in a play that's set on an election day, and voting for the fire, unaware you're playing Joan of Arc. Suddenly, the shepherd pulls the rug and slips a hood across your clueless mug, and everything goes zero dark. I'm going to warn you once more before it's 2024 and you fuck around and find out who your heroes are. To take a step back from the herd and you'll learn that you can spot who all the shearers are. If you really want to know the product that they're selling, I can take you where the mirrors are. If you think your voice is finally ready, I can tell you where the lyrics are. I hid them in a box I had to bury neath the cobble when they carpet bombed the promenade and raided all the street bazaars. Now all we've got's the marketplace, and you're too broke to even bother asking what the options for your treatment are. Suddenly, the raw debris of homeless human dignity will find it has 100 teeth for every badge and sweeper's arm. Suddenly, they speak in solidarity and each is armed. Suddenly, the sheep can see the shepherd for his truest form and all pitch in at once to help him buy the farm. And now it's zero dark. And all is calm and peaceful save the distant wail of sirens that approach beside the flames of dawn. Suddenly, the carrot's just a string that's on a stick, and all your movements make you sick because the prize is gone. Now, we could go and flee into the forest low and meek, or we can exercise our right to feast and go and graze on Biden's lawn. Because he's been sowing seeds that seep a toxin out to sap a bit from each of us and keep on leaching decades after Biden's gone. So regardless who they summon out of hell to come and do the job, it will not feel like Biden's gone. But in that time of hopelessness, you cannot trust the shepherd when he once again comes asking you to humor him his siren song. And it's cute that you can innocently, honestly assume that's just a symptom of a system that was wired wrong, and not the standard feature, basic function, primary objective of a mass hypnosis firebomb. You don't need to know the words to cry along. Someday it'll hit you like an officer who pistol whipped their ride along. Broke his jaw and kept his job and kept it moving right along. That voting isn't red or blue or black or white or right or wrong. Voting's like a firing squad where you can choose the firearm. It's slow extinction by and large. It's Super Tuesday supercharged. It's all your futures, roots and all, just tossed out on a garbage barge. It's everybody dropping out to push the biggest oligarch. It's everybody voting fire, registered as Joan of Arc.